Welcome back to the Woodwind Doubling Channel, episode 17 today. Vibrato on clarinet. Do we need to learn how to do it? Should we use it? Well, my answer is a qualified yes. There's certainly some places in doubling music especially where we need to know how to produce characteristic vibrato, especially, say, between 20s and 40s kind of sounding thing, big band era kind of vibrato, and even possibly doing an older style that's a little more, shall we say, vivid. Now, I had a question posed to me by one of my viewers about using vibrato on the clarinet in, say, concert music settings, say something like an orchestra or a concert band. That's pretty much a no-no if you're a section player. We're expected to play straight, nice even tone, a nice blending sound. If you have vibrato going on all over the clarinet section at different rates and different styles, it's going to be kind of a disaster. String players spend a lot of time working on vibrato. It's a much harder thing for string players because they've got to be able to do it with any of their digits in any place on the fingerboard. With clarinet, it's a simpler mechanism. We're talking about basically an undulation of the pressure here, maybe a little bit of undulation of breath pressure. In any case, it gives us a bit of a variation in amplitude and also in pitch. And that's fine. That's what we want it to do. Now, stylistically, classical music, unless you're a soloist, and by soloist I mean like somebody who's such a good soloist you can get away with just about anything, say like say Richard Stoltzman. He can use vibrato tastefully and it works great. Some of the older English players like Harold Wright, I believe, used and Reginald Kell tended to use vibrato on their classical recordings as well. For us, in classical settings and orchestral settings, the North American standard is that clarinet is played with no vibrato. Now, you do need to be able to do that to play things like big band leads. Take something like the intro or the melody of Moonlight Serenade. Yeah, definitely has to have that shine on it. Without that kind of shine, you really lose that Glenn Miller-ish sound. And of course, the saxophones supporting that in 4-part with the doubled melody are expected to do that as well. I've played in a lot of sections where they just leave it to the clarinet player. Not stylistically appropriate, guys. Saxophone players need to get on top of appropriate vibrato as well. Also, you get into it with any sort of Dixie-influenced portions. Let's say you were playing a concert band medley and you're like the Dixieland clarinet soloist on it. Well, yeah. Bring out the vibrato for that. Definitely. Bends, vibrato, other expressive devices are expected there. If you don't use it in that situation, you sound like a classical player playing it, and that just never quite sounds right and rarely swings either. So, vibrato and clarinet, yes, you should cultivate it. You should know when to use it. As always, listen to musical examples. If you're listening to some things from the big band era, listen to some Goodman and Shaw, and listen to the lead players with some of the other big bands. Listen to some Jimmy Hamilton and Barney Bigard with Duke Ellington. You'll get to hear some really great sounding low register vibrato and some of those things too. A lot of real kind of New Orleans clarinet and that woody sound that they get is playing a looser low register embouchure and a vibrato on it. Say something like Barney Bigard playing in The Mooch. And even some rips up to notes and things like that too, but it has that essential character of a really nice woody sounding vibrato on the bottom of the instrument. So, if you're practicing vibrato, at first it's kind of a mechanical process. It's kind of like going ya, 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 ya on an individual note, maybe picking a metronome setting of about 60 and going for 16th notes. Do it slow at first, get some control over it, learn how to speed it up, maybe shade it, and also taper it off at the end of phrases. If you listen to a lot of vibrato used by jazz players in the earlier part of the century, you will often hear a late onset vibrato. You'll hear them taper off the vibrato just into air. Ben Webster was famous for doing this. But listen to the source material. Hear how the greats used it in context. Learn from that and apply it to your own playing. That's it for this time on the Woodwind Doubling channel. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Please subscribe to the channel so that you'll know when I'm bringing you more content. And get out the clarinet and work away in the vibrato and see what you can do with it. Till next time, thanks for watching. Bye.